Okay, hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the stream. So yeah, today it's going to be, I have some things I want to try out. And I do them on the stream because it might be interesting. So yeah, we're just going to do that. Kind of jump straight into it, I guess. So let me start with explaining what it is I want to do. So, as you may or may not know, we also publish a interesting kind of front end called Technologic, and it's a front end to ChatGPT and more. Although by default we'll just see OpenAI's stuff here. And if you have everything set up, you can fully use this to kind of talk to ChatGPT, and it should respond. I don't have the key set up right now, so that's fine. But anyway, it's interesting because you can not only just say something, but you can edit what you say and change it to system message if you want, for example, and then make your user message, and whatever the LLM responds, you can actually go in and change it, and you can fork it or save it. You can kind of change what it said and continue the conversation with what you wanted it to say instead. So it's kind of like power user interface. And as you fork things out, you get a graph where you can kind of see your different conversations branching, and you can switch between them very easily. You can go back and copy everything, or merge, fork, trash, edit, all sorts of things. You also have the ability to make folders, and you can move things into the folders, and things like that. All sorts of kind of big features that they don't give you in ChatGPT, but you can totally do in here, because in Technologic we trust that you know what you're doing. They're not trying to pretend this is anything other than an LLM or anything like that. So that's good, and it allows us to try various things. So being able to disable auto send and do things like that is actually kind of good. So you can change stuff, see how that conversation would happen, and then use that as the basis for your application. And for that, it works pretty great, actually. But I was kind of wondering, how would it work if it was connected to Vecto? And Vecto, for those who do not know, is our vector database. And it also has a nice kind of UI that you can look at here. Kind of gotten some updates recently. And you can do things like, view some stuff. For example, let's go to this AutoGPT Space one, which has a little bit of things in it. You can look at the entries. You can now kind of expand this and see things in a nice way. You can see the statistics about when you're using it. Daily and cumulative. It's pretty nice. And yeah, it's a super easy vector database, as well as being one that has a lot of interesting features, in my opinion. And so it's really popular to kind of use vector databases as memories for chatbots. And I figured, when using ChatGPT, you can kind of tell it a little bit about yourself, but other than that, it has no recollection of, any other conversations you've had with it. And those could be important for kind of getting you the specific response you want, right? So I want to try that. I want to mess with doing that in here. And see what it would be like to kind of multiple conversations where it can have a long-term memory. And then I can like view that memory in Vecto if I wanted to. And I don't think I can edit things, but you can delete things that you don't want to be in there. What I'm kind of thinking is, it would be kind of cool if the memory was kind of related to the folder. So, or something like that, where if I can, go here and just like how I can go and switch the back end to something else. It would be kind of interesting if I could switch the memory to something else. I could have, different memories of different things. Would be kind of cool. Or the ability to inject memories into these conversations and have it use it. So that's what we're going to do today. And we are kind of starting with this default thing here. But when it comes to the memories and how to retrieve them, I think we're going to start from the tool use branch. So the tool use branch is something that we are kind of working on. It's like plugins. So for example, if I go to Technologic here, just like how you can have plugins in ChatGPT, we are adding those into Technologic in a way that's not necessarily limited to just what OpenAI can do. We do have support for running things on local models. It is commented out in here, but in my version, I have things not commented out, and it's able to run against Mistral, or Zephyr is another one I'm trying recently, or Llama 2, and just kind of compare how those interact with each other. But anyway, so this encyclopedia tool that we have uses Vecto, right? And so as part of the tool chains, right, we kind of already have the feature for dealing with Vecto. So we can extend that, I think. And the music is very loud. Oh, that's interesting. Let me turn down the music a little bit. Okay, it was already turned on. Okay, so let's get started on this. So there's tool use refactored. Okay. Let's do it based off of this thing. Seems good. So what I'm doing here is essentially adding support for Google. So you can also use Google's Palm and things like that. But there's various issues with how it's implemented, so we're not gonna deal with that right now. I'm just gonna kind of make this into one big comment and hope that it's happy. Let's see how that works. Okay, so we got the tool use refactored, and I have some small things, mainly things like this, right, where you can have the local the model. So we're gonna keep that for now because I don't think that'll change anything. It will be interesting to play around with. But let me try to run dev here and see how that works. Okay, so go to the backends, go to local. Let's edit this local one. Let's change this to my Windows machine. And I think I want to add the model that I just added, which is Zephyr, spelled really strangely. Okay, so let's set that as the default. It will run with Mistral, but then I'll run out of memory and I'll have to restart things. So I'm just gonna switch that there. And let's start a conversation. Say hi there. And see if that works. Okay, cool. So yeah, as you can kind of see, Zephyr does not do summarizing very well. Neither does Mistral, and neither does Llama 7. It's kind of weird. Yeah, a little weird. I think we can probably fix it. But anyway, we're not going to deal with that today. We'll just rename stuff manually like that and use it that way. Okay, cool. So I think we do have tools though. So if I ask it, so I'm on Zephyr. I'm not sure how this will work. I'll switch to OpenAI from YouTube. I'll ask it, what is the year that Columbus visited Puerto Rico for the first time, something like that. Anyway, it might not do that. Yes, I'm not sure that's going to use the tools. Or wait, am I on the tool use? Yeah, I am on the tool use. So, let's see if it's doing stuff. Clear the filters. Okay. There's the more context tool, use the query. And easier for this Puerto Rico. And yeah, that might not work so well. Okay, so let's do the cool thing. Let's switch the backend. Oh, right. I don't have the backend thing in here. That's fine. We'll just do it this way. Perfectly fine. Switch it to OpenAI. Change that. 3.5 turbo should be fine. Let me grab my key. Okay. Paste that in there. And now let's refresh this. Okay. So it knows what it is, but there's something about the tools that didn't work very well. So look at the broker here. Yeah, so unfortunately, like the 7B models are just not that great. Like all the hype with them is really simple stuff, like kind of dumb stuff. And you know, I don't want to diss them too much. They're like amazing for being 7 billion parameters, right? Compared to whatever size ChatGPT 3.5 is these days. So pretty amazing. Using the same language in almost through a summarized conversation. Okay, so that does the summary thing. And this is the other stuff, tool selection prompt that we do. Okay, so why did encyclopedia tool return nothing? The network. Let's do fetches and we look up to our vector space, public vector space. Did return 0 results. Okay, so that's cool, I guess. What else should I look up? How about who is the creator of the original, the PyTorch library? Is that something that shows up in Wikipedia? That also has empty results. Why would that have empty results? What did it search for? The request data. It's ID, modality text. Okay, fine. Query is empty. And here, the request data. There's also empty. That's a little weird. It is weird. I think it is weird. The thing here. It's a tool called Query PyTorch. Organization broke 58. Let's look at that. It's here. I have a tool call. Executing that.
Hey, I thought I'd join you today. As you can see, I'm coming from BR today.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah. So,
the metaverse.
I thought I'd try to help you and see what's going on.
Yeah, it is a little weird. And we are searching for something, but it is kind of sending nothing apparently.
Okay, so if it is sending nothing, well, that's the reason why we send, no answer.
Yeah.
What do you see in the the console when it does that? It usually tells you essentially every single step that it does. Like right at the lowest point, like if you scroll all the way down, it has the tool called Query with PyTorch.
Yeah.
So it should be doing that.
Exactly. So we are here. And there is something there.
I mean, one thing that you could do just to make your life easier, is just use the new vector API package.
Yeah, we could probably do that. Let's do that really quick, actually.
Because maybe I did something that doesn't work in Safari so when I set up that tool.
That's an interesting point. Very interesting point. So I think it's this one. Let's see if I'm right or if I'm installing some random guy's package.
It should be. Should be ours.
It should be yours. I guess I'll also check if it runs with Chrome first before we do anything. But it would be weird if it did. I kind of feel like I should put my headset on, but in just pass-through mode and be like, I'm also in the metaverse. But I can totally do this on virtual desktop, which is nice. That it still works, even for the old stuff.
Kind of annoyed with enabling and disabling the hand doing things and kind of the hand tracking or not. It works kind of decently, as you can obviously see.
Yeah. You have a pretty good avatar that represents yourself in real life.
Yeah, it kind of looks like me, but I don't wear the leather jacket all the time. Yeah, and the sunglasses, obviously.
Yeah. I don't have any leather
If
jackets.
anyone meets me at a conference, that is essentially what they expect to see if I'm coming from the outside.
Yeah. I could do with a leather jacket. I've never had one. Maybe when I get a motorcycle.
Funny thing is, my leather jacket actually looks pretty much the same like this one does.
That's cool.
Now I've disabled the hands and I can't move the webcam around anymore.
Yeah, you gotta do this thing. It's kind of convenient because, yeah, like in virtual desktop, they don't have the way to disable or hide the hands. So even though there's a setting in virtual desktop to like hide your hands when they're not in use, it kind of doesn't. So your hands are like just always there. That's kind of annoying.
I mean, they're not really hidden. Also, that kind of this gesture. I guess it needs to. Doesn't. Oh, yeah, no. It doesn't always work.
Yeah. It's a little finicky. Okay, I'm disabling Turbo Boost because it's like ridiculous that I'm doing it. Well, I mean, I am installing things from NPM, but it's ridiculous taking 80 watts.
You should have used pnpm to install it.
I never have.
That makes it like 10
issues
times quicker.
But I have issues with pnpm, and I don't care enough to figure out what's wrong. Like it never works. I don't know why.
Okay. Would be actually kind of funny to stream the entire thing from VR, as in, kind of stream the like from within the environment. But actually, I guess watching it would be
a bit
nauseating if it's following my view.
Yeah, I guess. Wait a second. So if I'm in, hold on. Let's try stuff. Since I'm waiting anyway, might as well just burn through the rest of my memory. So virtual desktop does have a camera, but is that like what camera is the virtual desktop camera? Is it? It must be what I'm looking at.
I have
Right?
no idea.
Let's find out. Except for nothing has battery, so I need to plug things in and set more juice out of things. Let's set that up. And I think I need to plug my computer in.
Yeah, that's most likely.
Yeah. Because the interesting thing about the latest Mac stuff is that it not only has good performance, but it has good performance at low wattage, right? And Intel's good performance is at ridiculous wattage. So,
yeah, I mean, if I'd have to decide on a laptop right now, I would probably take the AMD offerings.
Yeah.
Because their efficiency core design is kind of interesting. They have no, they they have that in their latest thing. They have efficiency cores, but they are like not a different architecture. In on Intel's CPUs, they are essentially Atom cores, right?
Yeah.
On AMD CPUs, they are the same cores but smaller. Because now that the architecture is kind of done, they could integrate everything in a more compact way. So they use less power, and they would produce more heat technically if they would kind of clock as high. But yeah, their efficiency cores, as long as everything is kind of being kept cool, are essentially as capable as the full performance cores.
That's interesting. What is this thing's problem? Tier dependency. I think I'm going to nuke my npm because I'm seeing .pm again, and I don't like that. Let's try this again.
Yeah, so then do a pnpm install and see how fast it is.
I'm give it a try. I think it's going to fail. That's just been the way it works for me. It's like, oh, okay, it fails.
Unless you can see, it has wait a second, what is it? It is the error invalid. What?
Yeah, I have no idea what causes this. That's just what happens. It just says that, and it fails. No idea why.
You could update pnpm, maybe that'll help. And for that, you would actually use npm -d.
I could have sworn I tried that for, but maybe things changed. No, same thing.
Can I scroll up? I think it's still the old, like it did update it because it's already installed. No, okay, this time doesn't
Yeah.
come.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. Whatever. Who knows what it is, but I don't really care too much because JavaScript stuff will change later. So if I just wait 3 more weeks, there'll be a PM plus plus. It's just better and faster. And I'll just figure it out then. Okay, so let me nuke the node modules again, and then this time. And while that's doing, let me enter the metaverse. Maybe without my glasses, it's easier to do for a longer amount of time. 4%, 5%. Yeah, you can start with 5%. Right. Wants me to wait. Okay, so we'll do the metaverse thing if this is like a little bit more charged.
So yeah, apparently it is a problem with Node 20. Because
okay, so
I
TypeScript
think Node 20 has added a few, like a bunch of different things in the global namespace. Well, yeah, then just go for npm, I guess.
Okay, so Technologic uses TypeScript 5.2.2. And we need a TypeScript of greater than 2.7. Why is that a problem?
I mean, I'm always using
we got
npm, so
5.1.3
it's working fine for me.
You can do this.
I mean, you could just tell it to force and then go on.
Stuff has gone into like craziness mode. That's the days back when JavaScript was good.
And I can't wait for the Bobo VR head strap. It is already in, like it is in shipping, but it's being shipped from China. So that will take forever to arrive.
Yeah. Now I was thinking about getting the Quest 3, but then how will I afford a new Mac Pro?
Don't. Just don't.
And look at this computer. It's like on its last leg. It's like a 69%. I can barely handle what we're doing now. I'm sharing a screen and it's taking 80 watts. Like,
Sharing the screen and indexing dependencies.
yeah. But that's what Turbo Boost off. I enable Turbo Boost. Yeah, look at that. 88 watts. 88 watts. It's ridiculous. I kind of want something that's quiet and doesn't heat up my room so much. Although it's becoming winter, so maybe I'll just... my desktop also heats up things quite a bit. And it's kind of annoying to use, you know? Like, I only have one screen, and doing the sharing, kind of a pain.
Yeah, in VR, you could have many screens.
Yeah, but then I'll need to buy a VR headset. Oh, and then my
it's cheaper than a screen.
True. And my desktop doesn't have any like USB-C ports. I mean, it does. It's just like in the back. But because it's also a Proxmox setup, it's everything. Every time I want to plug something in, I got to do this whole Proxmox thing.
I mean, you kind of don't. I mean, I'm not using a wired connection for this. I mean, the Quest 3 is connected with like, let me check. But it's like more than gigabit speeds over Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it depends on your Wi-Fi.
Yeah. I have pretty good like latency and everything.
Who is the original creator of the Torch library? Okay, so let's see how this works in Chrome.
Do you have your
Oh, yeah. Should have the keys set up correctly.
network? I think.
The was key is there. Here, clear. Let's do fetch. Is the original creator of the Torch. Yeah. Okay, so lookup is empty. There's the payload. Query is binary. Okay, so this does have something.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
Can you look in 28325 to see if it's working? Should be.
I mean, ask something about YouTube or something. I mean, it should return an answer anyway. But I know that it has like YouTube in there.
Yeah, seems like it has same empty response. That is very weird.
Yeah, okay, let me double check on my side then. Because it used to work for me.
$88 idle. Not idle. Doing nothing, taking out $88. It's amazing this thing survives. Okay. What do we want to do here? We have feedback.
What? I get a result.
You get a result. Why do I not get a result?
Let me double check whether like what my config is in there, but it should be identical to what is, yeah. I have an identical thing to what is online. It's the F9 token and it's vector space ID 282325. Let's. So, what was the question that you asked? Who is the inventor of the Torch library?
Yeah, it's Torch framework. Blob.
Probably change it over to not use GPT-4. Guess it's very slow because of that.
You got the public FB9. Okay, so that's supposed to be working?
You can go to the... Okay, yeah. Works with that too. So you can go to the vector docs and to just try it out from there too. Just with that same vector space ID and token.
I mean, that's we have a link to the docs. SDK clients, Python. Or do we want the text?
No, you want to have the last API one.
Yes, let's look up.
Yeah, now you, on the top, click authorize.
Authorize.
Authorize is further on the top. Yeah, there you put the token.
There we go. The vector space ID, we put that in there.
Yeah.
Modality text, top K5.
Yeah, the query needs to be a file in here.
That's fine.
So yeah, have a text file with a query in there.
There's no easy way to make a new text file. I don't think. Other than maybe opening this folder. Yeah.
Surprised how hard it is to create a text file on a Mac.
What was the thing searched for? No, CEO YouTube, I think, is what it searched for. What's my purpose to make text files? Okay, so let's go back here, select query.
And now execute. Bad request. Why does it? Oh, scroll up. Remove the check mark there. You're just sending out nothing on the IDs.
Yeah, that seemed to work.
Okay, why does that not work for...
Why would it not work? It's weird. It's super weird. Super weird.
I mean, you could just try using... you could try using the what is the word that I'm looking for?
Now it works. Now it works. Of course. Makes total sense. We did absolutely nothing, and now it works. That's great.
I guess it could be related to that vector space not being loaded when you tried it, or something like that. Because I
You tried it
disabled
twice,
the
though.
automatic loading, but it should have waited for it to load.
Yeah, like the first time I tried it and the second time I tried it in Chrome, there was quite a big span of time. Now it is a big vector space. So
Yeah, it is loading like a few dozen gigabytes.
I guess maybe the API server timed out.
It could be.
Yeah, that could be what it is. Anyway, so that's a bug that we might need to fix sometime in the future.
Yeah, very soon, actually. As soon as we do the backend update.
So we have the encyclopedia tool. It's just a function, so all the tools are just functions.
Yeah, they are actually they are objects that a function can be attached to, or several even.
I see. So for this one, we could do a hard-coded vector space, or what I want to do is to be able to like switch the memory whenever I want.
I think you'd want to look at the conversation broker then.
Wouldn't be a tool?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
So take a look at the conversation broker. It has that. Okay, it has the flow of where things happen. Like, as you can see, it's like, okay, if is that the right place? Yeah, you're in choose. Wasn't there more stuff to it? Or rather less. Ah no. Rename, choose tool, generate answer. Yeah, generate answer. The last thing in there is what you want to look at in the conversation broker. Because yeah, there it is like, oh, if there is like a message from a user, then we may choose a tool. And if we find a tool, we will use that tool. Then we'll add a message from that tool, and then we have do the full-on generation. So if you want to give it a memory, and it kind of needs to, or if you want to hook into this generate message loop, or well, it's not really a loop, but into that call, that's where it happens.
So what should we do here? Should we do like the generic RAG thing of embedding the memories as a context? That's kind of what I want to do. Like when a user sends a message, I want to do a lookup in Vecto and then add a system message that you've previously talked about these things, kind of stuff, and then embed those like those conversation chunks into the thing that goes into the into the thing. I'm not sure that will work very well, but whatever. And then we get the response. Or we, it could just be like the user, we prepend some like lookup memory thing. Like previously we talked about XYZ, and then what the user said. Not sure which
depends
one.
kind of on. Is it?
Indeed.
So, if we want to give it a memory, we would want to give it the ability to retrieve information based on what has currently been said, maybe even on all the things that have been said, right?
Yeah.
And should it be selectively deciding whether it wants to add that, or should it be doing that based on any other reason?
Given the way the brain works, it would be that it's an unconscious thing, right? Like when you kind of have memory, like so you recall memories as you're thinking, right?
Yeah.
You're not necessarily trying to recall the memories, like when you have like a question that you can't remember the answer to. I mean, that's kind of like trying, but really all you can do is like raise the stress levels of your like limbic system until it has come up with a good like recall, like a recollection kick. So it's essentially like you can kind of think of memories as a language model in itself, right? Like
Yeah.
there's
So
some.
we have kind of two things
Sorry.
here. One is, do I want to remember? And another is, do I want to recall? Right?
Yeah. So you can kind of think of the way the memory works in the brain is that there's like a prompt, and the completion comes from your memories.
Yeah, no, that I get. But for our memory add-on here,
Mhm.
we would probably want to have two things. Do I want to remember, which is kind of like a post-processing step,
Mhm.
maybe? And then there is another one. Or is it? So I'm kind of thinking if we make memory a tool,
Mhm.
then we could have it could have two methods, right? It could do remember and recall. Yeah, it could do remember is to write to memory, recall is
Mhm.
to recall something. And
There's something agency about that I like.
but I'm kind of thinking we could in principle have we could put a loop around this part where we're deciding on using a tool, and it could kind of go there and based on the last message in our history decide, oh, do I need to use another tool? And then one of the tools that it has could be memory, and it could maybe decide, oh, I want to remember the last thing that was in the conversation. And then it could be, oh, I'm going to recall or something like that. Or we could make remembering something that always happens.
Yeah, that's kind of like my original plan was that remembering would be something that always happens. But you're right. Like it should. It's you only remember things that you feel like you should remember in some sort of you don't remember anything unless you happen to need that very often. So there is something about that kind of system that might be a little bit different. But I kind of wonder, will it just try to remember everything always, or would it sometimes skip remembering a conversation? And how much of the conversation do we want to remember when it wants to remember? Just the last one, or like more things?
I mean, the way how we currently do tools is it only gets the last message, like the last thing that the user said. We could change that.
Yeah, we could change it. I have the feeling that the way the memory probably should work is that it summarizes what is going on and then remembers it. So it has to be explicit in what it remembers. So it says, I need to remember, and then it has something that it needs to remember, and then that can come from the conversation. And then when it wants to recall, we say, well, here are your different recollections that you made previously, and then put that information in there. But I'm kind of leaning that I think that the tool route, I think that will work. But I don't think it will work as well. Or like, I'm not sure when the models are going to want to recall stuff. Are they going to recall stuff all the time? And
I have no idea. They might.
Yeah, no idea. And are we stuck with only one tool?
What do you mean?
Like, so.
I mean, at the moment, yes. If you go to the broker, yeah, you have that open right there. So there is kind of this if the choose tool thing, I would probably leave that alone entirely. At the beginning of the broker, that is where it does like one run of using a tool in generate answer.
Where am I? Conversation broker. Generate answer.
Generate answer. There you have if history length something tool equals choose tool.
I see.
We can
keep going.
Probably. Yeah, keep going. Until we're done.
Yeah, we can have like a limit of 3 at most or something. I think it should be enough.
Because technically there are also like no op tools there. There was supposed, like if you look into the tools, there is a more context tool, which was meant, like it is currently a no op, but in principle, it has this kind of meant to ask for more messages. Then there is a no op tool and a no applicable tool. So in principle, it could go on until it says, well, there's nothing else to do.
Yeah. I think that's like probably a good idea. I don't recall if so. Essentially, like let's say it does use the encyclopedia tool and doesn't find anything good, then having it be able to choose a tool again with a different query or something like that might be a good idea. So, yeah, I think we should probably not necessarily. We could just remove this, right? So that's just whenever, regardless of what we have. But does that get called from here too? The system message?
Come again?
So if we were to remove this, would it be called after the system message to generate the answer? Or is there something more?
No. Give me a second. Just so I can double check whether the idea and the way how I have currently implemented it works. Because what I just did is, that is on my side, I have Oh yeah. Okay. Is it like done now?
Did it go crazy?
Has it failed? Okay, so what I did is I put a do while loop. While there is a tool, it should continue with the thing. And I mean, yeah, it has. I'm still on GPT 3.5, not 4. But the way it failed for me is that it is using the last message from the history to decide, oh, do I need a tool? What it is missing is the user's query, because that was previously taken from the last message in the history. So now it thinks the query is what you got from the backend back. And it kind of gets, I guess, stuck in asking for torch. Now that doing this, or I selected you encyclopedia. Then it's looking for torch framework. Then it has again selected the tool encyclopedia. Yeah, it kind of needs to keep track of the original query and the context that it has right now. So just putting a loop around it doesn't cut it.
I see.
But what if we give it the entire history? Then we should have messages.
Okay,
And
there is.
when we're selecting a tool, we can have. Like, you probably want the last message that the user
Yeah.
gave.
I mean, we could put the
Or
entire conversation.
yeah, let's try something like that. The context is JSON stringify. I mean, some things understand that. And then it selects a tool. And for that tool, we also provide the entire context. So if we do it like that, if we do it like that.
Like what?
I mean, with this, if you just stringify the entire conversation when it selects something, would that work?
Yeah. I mean,
So,
it'd probably work for GPT-4, no problem. At least.
let's see. Okay, now it has like. Oh, neat. So I've given it the JSON thing, and it has called the vector. It has asked who the inventor of PyTorch is. Then it has gone to the tool selection again with the entire thing. It has decided to ask more questions. This time it is asking about PyTorch without inventor of PyTorch, like without inventor of. And did I ask about just torch or? And it's just, it keeps going. Okay. Before it was inventor of PyTorch, just PyTorch. Has decided to go again, asking for inventor of PyTorch. Asking again about Torch. Now it's asking about Jan LeCun. More about Jan LeCun, and then it's like, yeah, you've exhausted your context length. That isn't too bad.
I mean, it does use other things, right? So that's good, at least. Needs to learn to stop, though. Or perhaps what we can do is remove the previous tool output every time.
I think it needs to know what it has given us, or what it has already in context.
Yeah, possibly.
All this if you don't need to use any more tools to give a confident answer. Or just to give an answer. Let's try it that way. Feels like I should be sharing my screen.
Yeah.
Let me...
Mine's not really useful right now.
Do that. Move things there. And... the screen. And that is this one. Okay. So I've just added this thing as another tool. And now we should be able to switch to Chrome. Oh, where is the other Chrome window? Ah, there it is. So many things. Okay, there it is.
Yeah.
Let's clean this up. Start a new conversation. And we care about the console here. So who is the inventor of... Let's try something different than PyTorch, or maybe, yeah, who is the original developer of the Torch framework? So it would be interesting whether it goes PyTorch at some point.
Yeah.
So it has gone to query about the Torch framework now. It has got its first answer. It has selected to go with Encyclopedia again. And now it has gone for Torch machine learning. And it's gone to Encyclopedia again. And didn't want to query anymore. Not sure. And then it has selected no applicable tool, and it should have stopped there. But it didn't, so it selected Encyclopedia again.
Yeah, that's kind of like one of the weird problems with it. It's it likes to repeat itself. You know, like it wants to like continue doing what it is. That's the language model kind of coming out of there.
Yeah, I think it is more of a it can't so it should have found that, oh, there's no applicable tool, I shouldn't do anything anymore. So let's go back here. This is kind of the thing that I put in here. And when we choose our tool, it says selected tool, but then so we have output our tool name from tools like this, right? And this have just name and explanation. And if it doesn't have an exec, then choose tool. I think, where are we? Choose tool. So find the selected tool. We have that tool, but if tool and tool has some way of executing it, Or
Mm.
no, wait a second. So that is a method. Okay, so when we return it, if the tool has no methods.
Mhm.
So if tool and tool has methods, then we do something about it. Otherwise, choose tool returns, well, doesn't return anything, and that should be enough. Okay, let's bring up those things again. Clean this up and start a new conversation based on that. So now we have given it the thing. It has decided to use the encyclopedia. Now we're asking it, oh, do you need to do anything more? It wants to continue asking the encyclopedia. And does that over and over. Okay, it has like selected tool encyclopedia, but doesn't actually call anything from it. Or kind of messed up the actual call twice in a row. And then at the end, it says no applicable tool. And finish it. I mean, that is janky AF. But
Yeah.
it kind of did the ask twice. Because at first was like, oh, touch browser. That's not kind of the thing. There's more about the touch browser. That's oh, touch machine learning. More about the touch browser. And there's, so it learned that, oh, there are two different things. Probably should kind of include the query that it used in here.
Yeah, it would be nice if you could see what it, like what tool it used and what it searched for, and then what the result was. Yeah, doesn't have to be more complicated than that.
So, I mean, in here we could just go prefix, I guess, would then be the query was literally query. And now we can retry that. So something more ambiguous, or is the Torch browser good enough for now?
I think it's good enough for now.
Yeah, here was the original Torch framework. Okay, so once again, it asks original inventor of Torch framework. It gets information about the Torch browser and Torch machine learning, and it says, well, I'm fine with what I have. So it's like the original inventor was not mentioned in the provided context. Okay.
Yeah.
GPT-4. Okay, we allow it to be more. Allow it to be a bit more intelligent. It'll take a while to get there. Now that it's doing that, yes, it's getting all those tokens. Interesting thing is that because it knows what Torch is, it's like, oh, I want to know about the Torch machine learning library.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
And then interesting that it output the things that way.
I'm going to do that.
But yeah, select the tool, more context tool. But yeah, there's probably like a dozen bugs hidden in there. And it also could be more useful. It could work something like that for the memory, right? So if we had a want to remember something and want to do something, want to recall something, that could be a thing.
Yeah. If you just add like the memory recall tool and just make it be the encyclopedia, would it use it?
So instead of our encyclopedia tool, our description will be
like memory recall or something like that.
So the explanation about the encyclopedia. So that would be just memory, right?
Yeah.
And recalls topics from memory. Would something like that work?
Possibly. The topic you want to recall from memory, from past conversations or something like that.
And so recalls that is probably good enough for like a test run. So can try. Should we continue with the same question?
Yeah, like it's something that it would try to see.
Okay, so there we have our memory, and I mean, because it goes to GPT-4, it obviously takes a while. And it has set no applicable tool. So do you know who I am? That could be something where it's like, oh, I don't, maybe I should use my memory. Yeah. No, I am toggling the screen again. But so let's see. Recall user. So it tried to ask questions about that, and I mean, it got information from Wikipedia. So and kind of it tells it to, well, you should only answer based on this thing and nothing else and stuff. But it tried to recall information about the user.
Tried to recall, yeah. So maybe, you need to do a little bit more than just the encyclopedia, but in general, that could work.
And we can, like, if you want to give it the ability to remember something, like, when should it do that? I mean, we could easily go here and be like, oh, we have another method in here. And it's called
remember and then be like
argument. Yes.
Remember. It's a good question, man. Yeah, like memorize.
The presentation is the thing you want to remember
for later. About this conversation for later.
About this conversation. And remembers and the input could be then there's no output. Right.
Yeah.
And another thing that it could remember is something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me quickly. Yeah. Technically, it has to have an output. Yeah. Could be something like that. Just for now.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's bring this back up. So hey, I'm Paul. Nice to meet you. Literally that. So it has gotten this thing. Oh, the description of the memory doesn't fit anymore.
Oh.
Because it is only about recalling topics from memory.
You'll need to recall or remember. Yeah.
And recalls. or your notes about the station.
About previous conversations, I guess.
Could even be called from memory or like.
Yeah, I don't think we can put it there. Yeah, just have it something like that.
Okay, let's trash that message and try again. What?
Why are you selecting Nova?
I mean, it had problems with it. I mean, it got a bad gateway thing, so let's just try again. Bad gateway is. I was like, no, nothing to do. It's kind of no, it's normal
engineers.
The same thing.
Ask it. Can you remember my name?
Something that we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you can ask and it doesn't see it, and then you say, "Well, remember that I also work with." Damn it.
Yeah, it's kind of goes with the more context tool. So let's kind of remove the tools. That
actually, what if more context tool was a memory, right? Like, do we just take the memories and then send that back?
Let's
or remove it.
Let's kind of try it like that. That's it. Yeah. Select this tool to remember something about the conversation, or if you want to recall something that you have previously remember. Let's try it that way. That kind of
Yeah.
I think maybe the prompt for the tool just was bad. So that, and we're going to fork here and start over. Don't need any more tools to give a confident answer.
Yeah.
Do you remember where I work? I mean, that is literally asking it to use the memory tool.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. It should kind of be automatic because, like, otherwise it has no real reason to think it's not confident, you know?
Now it's interesting what the answer will be, because it's like, oh, it has asked about Paul and work from the Wikipedia. And I think I really need to turn it back to GPT 3.5. Just waiting for things takes forever. Now, interesting. Now it has. Okay. It has remembered. The user asked, "Do you remember where I work?" Paul's workplace is currently unknown. Ah, right. I also asked it to go with or to you know
tell
not the
it
right
tell them they
reason.
work at tell it you work at
So,
Express AI and see if it tries to remember.
wait a second. Copy string contents. So it was saying, the user asked me to remember. Do you remember where I work? However, the system doesn't provide information about the user named Paul works. There's no relevant information about Paul's workplace within the given context. Therefore, I would use the remember method to store the fact that Paul's workplace is currently unknown.
Kind of makes sense.
And then it's kind of trying to remember Paul's workplace is currently unknown. So for a name, it feels like it doesn't need to remember it. Can you tell me what will work?
Tell it that you work. Yeah.
Express AI as the CTO, and I'm currently streaming how we could extend a chatbot with a more dynamic memory. Like that is something that it might want to remember.
Yeah. But try to remember two different things. That'll be kind of cool.
Yeah. Also, I haven't put it back to GPT 3.5, so we're again waiting for a long time.
Yeah, one of the things I like about the 7B models is that they kind of run a little bit faster than GPT 3.5.
Okay, so it tries
which is
to
nice.
remember.
They're super fast.
Yeah, Paul works at Express AI, CTO, and something. User has provided new information about his work. So it would do things. Oh, and apparently it continues. It tries to remember it again. Yeah.
Maybe we need to put something as the result, like you have stored this memory. This memory was saved, or something like that, so that it knows that it's done. Memory saved successfully, or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it tries now over and over to, I think, remember.
Quick, stop it before it takes up all our money.
It's just my money. It's using my key directly.
Well, then stop it before it takes all your money.
Okay, so the tool output is Edouard. So
data stored successfully, or something like that.
Note to self. My user's name is Eduardo. Nope. Eduardo is the CEO. And then the content. I hope I haven't. Yes, obviously I have. Okay, the arguments are in that way. So note to yourself. We'll call arguments 0. Okay, so let's see. We're kind of not too far away from actually giving it memory that way.
Yeah, exactly. Like we just need to change the vector ID to something hard coded, and then it's good, and then then find a way to change that in the UI. It should be good to go.
Can you tell me something about
AI?
Tomatoes.
The carrying capacity of unladen swallows or something.
It's like, yeah, I need none of your tools.
You should switch it to GPT-3 now while we're ahead.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I guess it. Let's fork that and try again. Like, well, GPT-3. Yeah, it also is. Okay. So, do you know? What else can I tell? I live in Germany.
Yeah, just say that. Should try and remember it. I guess not.
I wonder. Do you know where I live? They'd be like, no, no idea. So now it's recall user location. Yeah.
That's interesting. It's like, I kind of wonder if what we want is a vector search or if what we want is a key value store. Because maybe that would be more useful.
Okay, now I tell it I live in Germany, and it still doesn't want to remember anything.
Ask it, remember that I live in Germany for next time.
Okay, it has selected the tool. And
the user lives in Germany.
Yeah, but why does it do that twice? I mean, kind of goes into a direction. But why did it do that twice?
It's a good question.
So I used to remember too. I mean, I think it's kind of in the prompting here. Select this tool to remember something about the conversation. Maybe, I mean, I'm asking it, select this tool to keep notes about the conversation. You can then use this tool to recall previous information that you have written down. That seems, well, that is different. Not necessarily better. With AI, it's always about different. So let's go with I live in Germany. Yeah. And I should have cleaned this. It's no more tools.
Remember that I live in Germany, please. Maybe we should say that you should try and remember as many things as possible, or something like that in the tool description.
Yeah, that could be a useful thing.
Or make notes about every message we receive from the user for later conversation or something like that.
The other thing that we will do is list it first. Just because, well, literally just because I think it makes a difference. Okay, fork, and nope, it's no more tools.
Yep.
Okay, what happens if we start right here? It's still no more tools. It's like, I don't want to know anything about you.
Yeah, we probably do need to make it automatic. Or I'm trying with GPT-4 real quick, and we'll see if it's just like a IQ thing.
Suddenly takes a lot longer. Yeah. Sure, Paul. Now I'm going to tell you all about everything. It feels like the memory thing is... Maybe it shouldn't be called memory. I mean...
Maybe let's call it database? Or user conversation database, or notes, I guess.
Notes to self?
Maybe.
I really should just attach that to this side. Okay. So, save and fork, GPT-4 again. Well, select this if maybe the other thing is too strong.
What do you mean too strong? No more tools, you mean? Yeah, let's maybe do no op or something instead.
Maybe.
Or what if you put no more tools, but you change the explanation to be there's nothing to remember because you already know that you've remembered everything. That way it kind of like biased it towards doing note to self.
You use this tool. There is nothing to note, and there are no more tools
needed
to use to give an answer. Okay, so
could be a thing.
There we go. Save and fork.
You can also press the refresh, the reloaded forks. No more tools, I guess. What if you said, or if you said something along the lines of like, let's get to know each other, or I'm not sure that would work, but
Done. Let's call the tool done.
I see. Yeah.
You call this tool when you are done using any other tools. Maybe like that?
Yeah.
The great the great prompt voodoo.
Yep.
Select the tool, done. I'm done with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it has to be like automatic, but then if we make it automatic, I mean, having like a database, I think could genuinely be useful for it. But you know, like when we remember stuff, it's automatic. So perhaps, so what if we did? Okay, so there's the tool chooser prompt, right?
Yeah.
What if there was a clone of that right after the tool chooser prompt, which is like the memory prompt or something like that? So it's like a tool, but it doesn't have the option to remember nothing. Or maybe it does.
I mean, in principle, we could do that. I mean, also there's like, we can. I mean, the done thing is kind of so it stops trying to remember things and try things. So use this tool to keep and retrieve notes about the user and the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
One more thing, maybe the last prompt kind of was bad. Recall tomatoes. It's like, okay, my memory database, what do I know about tomatoes? But it's not done yet. Let's choose yet another tool. I selected the memory database again. Okay, let's get more information about tomatoes.
We want to make a real detailed answer for the user.
Uppercase? Here. No, it's lowercase.
Okay.
It goes back to uppercase. Like, that's all you.
We probably need to have something where we don't allow it to search for the same thing in a single conversation twice, probably.
Yeah, no, it's kind of stuck on asking questions about tomatoes. Let's go so back to first to a not smarty pants model.
Yeah.
Okay. It still tries to recall about tomatoes. Yeah. Okay. I couldn't find any information about ExpressAI in the provided context. Yeah, you only looked things up about tomatoes. And,
Yeah, exactly.
do you know where I live? Because I think having this information that, oh, no, I don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
And then telling it that I live in Germany kind of... yeah. This time it chose no tool.
You'd think it would try to remember this kind of stuff.
So what did it actually say though? The user is asking about their location, so no tools are needed to answer this question. We can provide a direct response based on the user's input. So let me share the current state with you, because you have ideas.
Yes, I was about to have some more ideas. It's like, what if we told it that it needed to store, like that it can't answer directly. It needs to save information to the memory so that another agent can respond or something like that, right? I thought maybe that would work, but hacks on top of hacks.
Yeah, I've put it on the Paul/memory tool branch. So you can pull it from there. And I guess I'll switch to you sharing your screen now.
Yeah. A while back, I did try to use virtual desktop. I thought I saw a virtual desktop video source, but I guess not. There's definitely no video source for virtual desktop. Could be wrong. Could have sworn I saw one though. I'm not sure how you would do that. But yeah, I think you can't do that. Anyway, so now let's go to memory tool. Okay, so in here we've essentially replaced the encyclopedia with memory, right? Choose tool. So selection prompt, get the answer.
So for your idea about kind of doing it, well, not necessarily as a tool, but more of a standalone step.
Yeah, like a step.
That is something that we could do.
So
this is what happened kind of in the generate answer part.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to see. So we essentially force it to choose the tool, right? Every time.
I mean, it can say I don't want to use a tool.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
so then,
as long as it selects a tool, we continue that. So what we can do is before we get into this particular loop, we could make it, not necessarily a choose memory, but more like
remember, like.
so I would put that probably
What
before
if we
even
do
the tool use.
Yeah. So like first we do a recall, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, recalled context, right? Is equal to await, and then we do like, I don't know, recall context, sure, something like that, right? And then after we do that, then we do a await save or remember context. We don't need this recalled context. We don't need any of that output. I mean, we could have the output.
yeah, like recording that isn't necessary.
Yeah. We have the recalled contexts. And
Or we could, because it then knows what it has remembered from it previously.
one thing that I wonder is if it is necessary is there is a theory that when we remember something, we lose that memory. And then we re-encode that memory and remember it again. And the reason why there's that theory is because like the more we remember things, the more fuzzy it gets, right? Now I'm not 100% sure if it really is a like recall and then remember.
I mean, it kind of is like you can influence witnesses very easily by asking leading questions, and then they will remember their answers based on the leading question. And when the kind of non-leading questions are being asked, they will give answers based on kind of the things that you've led them on.
Yeah.
So you could ask like a witness, oh, how fast was the car driving by? Was it more like 60 or more like 80? And they will be, oh, it wasn't certainly 80, so it's probably was more like 60, even though it could have been like 20 or less.
Exactly. So because that's like a phenomenon, we could maybe use that here where we recall some sort of context, then delete that context. And then at the end, we re-encode that memory and then any new context. I don't know if that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense when it comes to a vector database. Yeah, it might make more sense for like a lookup type of thing, but like with a vector database, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we just like recall and then we remember. Yeah, recall and then remember.
And you probably want to install the vector dependency.
Yeah, I have installed the vector dependency.
You know, the remember part is easier if you just have the client.
Yeah. Okay, so we do this, and then You don't want to do it in here. You want to do it after here. Okay, so we want to import.
Have you installed it yet?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
not what we want. Should be Vecto. Do we call it Vecto or Vecto SDK?
I honestly have no idea. I haven't used the official client myself yet.
Call it Vector TS? Well, let's look at our marvelous documentation that we spend much time on. Okay, so we install the Vecto, and yes, we don't have how to import, which is probably an important thing. Kind of an important thing. Okay, so it is called Vecto SDK. Okay, so does that work?
And you probably just want to disable co-pilot. Yes. Yeah.
Disable. Yeah. Since we have the configuration, Vecto SDK says not find that module. Did I not install it? Or did I try to install it and then it didn't work?
I remember that you tried to install it previously, but it didn't work, and then you removed everything, and then.
Yeah, we didn't try to save it.
Yeah, it's the force thing from before. That's unrelated to Vector. Interesting.
Well then. That's
He's sweating blood here. Wondering whether something's broken with the SDK.
Vector Express AI. Vector client. That's what it was. And that's what we want. Why? I hate people who mess with my selections.
npm install, save, and you also still need the force.
Why do we need the force?
I don't know, because npm is weird and pnpm doesn't need it.
I have a feeling that pnpm is a mistake, but it's also super fast.
Okay, and then it's
something
from
must be
Vector client, I guess, that you're importing.
Yeah. Or no, we have to do
Express AI /
There we go. So let's just import star as Vector. So there, right?
Yeah.
Now let's create a remember context. Why inside? Okay, we'll have vector dot.
You'll have to use. You'll have to create a configuration first.
Yeah, I can do that. I think I'd do that later. Let's go back to our fabulous documentation.
Yeah, I think you get more documentation out of the tests.
Well, that's bad.
Yes. Teresa.
No. API index data.
So what we should
okay.
do is add at least an example of how the configuration should look like.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah, then we have the indexing and the lookup. That's all we need. The freezers are like, ah.
Fine. Fine. We'll do it your way, man. Jeez, you know.
What? That
It's a lot of
is
stuff.
not what you want.
Should be just access token.
It is still like a new configuration around that thing.
I see. New
and it's probably a vector.configuration.
Configuration. Right.
I mean, that is using the low-level
Do we have a higher level one?
API. No, we don't have a high level on
Right, I see.
for TypeScript yet.
Okay, new index API of that. Then we can create some thing, and then we index the data.
Yeah.
One
up. Note here. Yeah, the examples are kind of wrong too. Because the attributes, it's currently like utter1, utter2, but then there's only one input. Those need to be JSON stringified.
Yeah.
So it's one JSON string per input.
Because we don't.
I mean, you can also create just one configuration. You don't need to pass it to two of them. So yeah, that's why I was saying you get kind of more examples out of the test cases because they are correct. Yes, the tests run, whereas the documentation doesn't.
But it's just index data and lookup, right?
Yeah.
Shouldn't be fun. Okay, so we have those things. So when we remember context, we can do the vector lookup. But
yeah, I'm gonna go and grab something to drink. I'll be right back.
Okay. That lookup request. We can just pass it a thing here. And we'll need a vector space ID, modality top K, and query. This, does it have to be a blob or does it not have to be a blob? Because when we do this, it's a blob. And it's also an array, which is a little weird. An array of blob. Look up with dynamic analogy. Yeah, an image blob is a blob. So I'd kind of expect this to be a blob too. Crazy if the query vector would be optional. I'm feeling it's definitely not optional. Okay, so what we want. Now, this remember context is not a lookup, this is a store. So we want the vector index, we want to index data. And for that, we want something like this. In the vector space ID, we can use something simple and hard-coded for now. I have the feeling that OpenAPI is a mistake. I never liked it. Let's do demo space. Now that has some stuff. Let's make a new one. Make a new OpenAI one called Technologic space 1. Okay, and the ID is 28477. Text. Our attributes are supposed to be a JSON string. We want to JSON dot to JSON. We wanted to have how do you do JSON again? JSON dot stringify. There we go. And then we have something that we want to do. And this is an array because we can remember multiple things in a single index. Right. This is supposed to be a number. Modality is text. An array of that, an array of blob with the thing. Okay, so let's just do that. Index data is a promise, so we can await that. Let's just get this logged. Okay, and then we also want a recall context. Somewhere. Where is the recall context? I would like that to be down here. Remember, yes, let's rename that to remember. Then for the recall, wait vector lookup dot lookup, and then we want a lookup request. It should have these things. Okay, so this not being an array makes sense, but I'm pretty sure it needs to be a blob. So let's put the vector space ID here, top K3, and then the query should be a new blob. So it can be any, but it probably should be a blob. And blobs take an array of parts. And let's console.log that response. Okay, and that should work and log something, right? So let's refresh. Start a new conversation. Give it some time to run. Let's open it again. I think something there didn't work out too well. Error. Okay. Why is that an error? Why is that an error? Why do you have errors in this thing? It's a weird thing to have an error for. All contexts. We never return anything. Let's just do that. And then this. Okay. And we have an error for some reason. See if we can find out why. Message card.svelte does not exist. What in the world is this stuff? Who added it? It wasn't me. Okay, so we start a new conversation. We say testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, unauthorized. Makes total sense. So let's get that authorization. With a token. I think I have one. Key. Okay. So this access token should be, we're going to get this access token in a way that makes sense.
In principle, you can put it. Hey, I'm back.
Hey. Okay.
Also, in principle, you can put it into like a .env file, and then access it through that.
How do we reference the .env file from there?
Well, this is a SvelteKit application, and they have.
Can I like do? Can I get? So I already have this defined in my environment. So can I just like do os.env?
If you already have that in your environment, you should be able to import env here.
Import env?
It's like in curly brackets, curly braces, from $env /dynamic/private, and then you, I think, should be able to get your vector API key that way. No, it's just with a dot. But yeah, I mean, that's JavaScript. It should work that way.
I feel much more better this way. It feels odd the other way. Okay. So let's do that.
And was it complaining about something?
Not import private into client-side code. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. But that's mostly about it complaining that it is a private thing. Okay, so use /dynamic/public. And it wants that whatever it uses here has a public prefix, but you can also tell it to STFU. So you can go to your Svelte config file, and there you can add another thing called env. Within the config. Env, yeah, that's an object, and the public prefix can just be an empty string. Public uppercase prefix, yeah. And now it shouldn't complain that you're not still unauthorized. Can you rerun the dev server? I'm not sure if it directly picks that up.
So let's inspect network. Send.
Okay. So it doesn't want to do that.
Is it using the right thing?
I think it should be the right thing. Let me double check. Oh, you may have to put that into the kit object instead of outside.
Into the kit object?
Yeah, the one above it.
So we run that. Let me try this. Okay, so that did its thing.
Is this thing on? Okay, now I guess you can remove the one that's that's not needed.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay, so we go back to our vector spaces. We can go to our Technologic space 1, and there's nothing in there, which is not expected.
It is. Scroll down to where your scroll down to your ingest. Yeah, you're stringifying an empty thing into the attributes.
Makes sense. Yeah. So if we have a to do is true, and put that here, and save and send that. Go back to here and refresh. Okay. So cool. So we do have Vector API kind of up and running. Not sure I like doing it this way, but it's okay, I guess.
I mean, remember that is still kind of the very low level thing that we want to put something around it to make it nicer.
Yeah, we're going to want to have like a memories kind of page.
Yeah, if we make that work, that obviously should go there.
Okay, but anyway, so how do we want to do the remember context? And ideally within like 20 minutes or so.
Well, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to... So, yeah, literally, what do you want to do?
What I want to do is save the want to look up similar conversations and save the similar conversations on every message.
That's too abstract.
As in conversations
as tell me what you want it to be written down, or kind of what should be the thing that it is remembering. Should it be remembering like a summary of it? Should it be...
Ideally, yeah, it should be like a summary of it. So we should ask it to summarize the last... Yeah, so let's implement the save, because that's making it... remember makes a little bit more sense. So we'll have the history and the backend. What we want to do is summarize the last user question and assistant response. Or user message, assistant response, and save to vector. That's what we want.
Okay, that means that you'd want the history to go through the history and keep only the last user message and the last assistant response.
Yeah.
So that means, well, literally a filter on history, where message.role is user and then last, or there is something like find last or something like that. Yeah, arrays have a find last on them these days. So history, find last, user, and the same thing for assistant.
So message. Last assistant message. Okay. Then we'll do backend dot send message. And our history is last user message, last system message. And what was this again? Wait.
Yeah, you probably want to have a third message that either that or a system message that tells it you are a summarizer and you summarize the conversation that you have been given.
Mm-hmm.
So role system. No, it's not. It's literally just a
System content should be some summarizer bot that is summarizer bot.
You are a summarizer bot. You are given a list of messages, and you provide a concise summary of what has been discussed.
This is provide a summary. Yes.
It's complaining that things may be undefined. Because find last may fail to find something.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, what do we want to do if we don't have that? I'm thinking we want to skip it. So if we do if last user message.
You could define history up front, like the array that holds the array that you're passing to send message.
This thing?
Yeah, if you pull that out and put just the system description into it, and then you can do if last user message, you can push that there, and if not,
okay.
You've got, yeah.
And if last user message and last system message, then
you're doing it that way. Okay.
Yeah, because I kind of like essentially I want to skip everything if those things don't exist.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because it means that the user is like messing around with stuff, right?
Yeah.
So are those things now not undefined?
Yeah, they should be not undefined now.
Yes, okay.
But then you also don't need to turn that into an array.
Let's just put it this way. That. Then you want the last summary message, the last user message, and then the last system message. Okay, and then we take the summary. I don't know if we have. Was there last -1 work? Or is that a Python thing? Can't remember anymore.
No, that doesn't work in. Like, what do you want to do?
Oh, it's just a message. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
I thought it was returning the whole conversation.
No.
So we take the summary.content, and we want to save that, and then blob that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that should work. Okay, and then when we're remembering stuff, or no, now, okay, so now that we've remembered these kind of things,
oh, you could also, like, kind of for the summarizer, you could be a bit fancy and ask it to summarize it in the form of a JSON, where it can have like properties based on the conversation.
yeah, we can do that later. Totally good idea for later. For later me.
Yeah, I mean, it could work because Vector doesn't require a strict schema for the attributes.
Yeah, exactly. Recall context. Okay, so we have these histories, and I think we want to do more or less the same thing. Right? Now, why do we want to do the same thing? Well, maybe not necessarily this last user message. This time, there won't be an assistant message.
Yep.
Right?
What do we...
So...
we want to recall based on the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So, the idea is to, just like in the brain, we have something that, so the hippocampus encodes memories, right? So what we want this thing to do is to kind of, I mean, the summary thing is the memory, right? So this thing is encoding it. So to okay, so that makes this a little bit weird. We might need to rethink this a little bit, but we want it to encode the user's input we want it to summarize the user's input essentially, right? And then look it up by them. What is being discussed? And we're looking up from text top 3. Then we want the summary dot content. Okay. Now what we can do is return the res dot results.
Res dot results.
Join with new lines.
I mean, you could do that, or you could return a JSON .stringify result, which probably makes more sense.
Maybe that too. Okay, so now we are looking up things, we are saving things. So now, when we have recalled a context, I want to add that to the history.
Yeah.
So if recall context, then
no,
history.
that's history equals. And we want no. Wait. Actually, you're getting ahead of yourself. Do you want to add this to the current conversation? Or do you only want to have this in the history for tool use and answers?
the latter, but the former is not a bad idea.
Yes, adding it to the current conversation looks like what you see in line 106.
Current conversation, add message. Do we want to add it to the current conversation?
I mean, then it will be available for everything that follows it.
Yeah. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, it is essentially like pulling something from long-term memory into short-term memory.
Yeah. I'm not sure I would like to pollute the conversation. Like, so if I could show it in the UI as a history, like, so I don't want the, it's a good question. So what I was thinking before I said it out loud was I don't want the old memories to be polluting the new memories. Like,
but in a way, well, it
like
also doesn't pollute the new memories because it only looks at the last assistant message and user message. It doesn't look at any system messages.
Yeah, but the assistant response does look at all those things. But do we want that or do we not want that? Because
I mean, it's supposed to ignore things that are unrelated.
yeah,
It just increases the context length.
yeah, exactly. That's my worry. It's like, given that it has used the history or like the memory to make a response, does it really need, like for example, like if I say, what is my name, right? Then there's 3 conversations with my name in it, and then it's making that response. And if I ask it some other question, then it's going to do another lookup. And maybe that information was in the old stuff, but it's going to be in the new stuff anyway. So instead of having like this duplicated history, like memory, kind of showing up in the entire conversation when you send it to the LLM, might be better just to have the current, like the last one, right?
Yeah. The only problem is that if it isn't part of the conversation, it's not showing up in the UI.
Yeah. And I do kind of want it to show up in the UI.
But it's like the tool use itself currently is also not showing up in the UI.
Yeah. It's like, if I do want it to show up in the UI, it's more like I would actually prefer that it's a hidden thing, and then I could expand it, like recalled stuff. And then I could expand the recalled memories and kind of see it just for myself, per se. Anyway,
I mean, in principle, it is possible to add it to the conversation thread, but not add it to anything that will access history. Because history is also, it's a derived store. So we have the option to add a filter there.
No, whatever. Let's do whatever is easiest now because it's almost 1 a.m. Yes. So given that I don't really care about it showing up in the UI, just having it in the console log is perfectly fine.
Yeah, that should be fine then.
Yeah.
So it will use the tool, and right now it would vanish after one tool use. But we don't really want it using tools anyway, right? So we might just do a while false around that and I mean, or just comment the entire do thing out. It's probably easier anyway.
Yeah, I mean, having it do multiple steps is not a terrible idea, right? But
yeah, I just comment out the entire thing because otherwise it's messing with the history, as you can see here.
Do we need this part?
Yes, otherwise it won't have the history for the answer.
Right, so you're saying I should just comment out the do while?
Yeah, the entire do while, then it's... No, I mean the entire thing.
Oh, the body of it too? Like just this whole thing? So we're not going to use tools at all?
Yeah, in this case, I mean, we've kind of massacred them anyway.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. Okay, cool. So if I start in this and say, hi, my name is Eduardo Gonzalez.
Don't forget to open the console.
Ah. Yeah. I work at Express AI as the CEO. Let's of that. Okay, we have 2 results with crazy high similarity.
Oh wow, why? Oh, because are you using like to do or something?
Yeah. So
I mean on the query.
Am I doing it on the query? That's a good point. Summary content. Summary content. No, I'm not.
Okay, let's check what the summary is then.
So we're looking things up.
Yeah.
Do we not?
We're currently not saving them. I think we haven't added it.
Recall context. Remember context. Remember the context.
Scroll up. It does a streaming thing. You probably want to do the await remember within there, where it's also renaming the conversation. Yeah, if done. No, not within that, because that would only run. Yeah, if done. And the history that you want to give it here should be
current conversation.
Get conversation.history. No, still within the get.
Oh. Okay. Is that happy? I don't need a question mark, I guess.
Yeah, that doesn't need a question mark because it is guaranteed to get something.
Okay, so let's send that again. Completions, index.
And there's the index. Let's see what it indexes. Oh, why did it index again? There seems to be a bit of a confusion here. I apologize for the misunderstanding, but as an AI language model, I don't have the ability to work or hold position at companies. Let's take a look at the completion that we sent.
Completion.
Yeah, this one should be yeah, the one where it should. Now let's take a look at that one too.
This one. Okay, so we have system. You are a summarizer bot. Role assistant. Okay. Then we're getting. There seems to be confusion. Then we have this one. Where is that? And this one, we have system at the end. Similarity to do true. Actually, let me get rid of that. Just it's kind of dumb to have anyway. Okay, so let's refresh.
We should have a button to clean or empty the thing.
Yeah. We only have 4 things, so that's fine. Let's do that. Okay. So now, let's clear them. Indexing. There are no other messages summarized. God damn it, GPT. Why do you have to be like this?
Yeah, I think you need to tell it like
You should probably have to give it examples, I think.
you can also click add model to give it GPT-4.
Yeah, let's just try that again.
It's still on GPT 3.5 though.
I hate it when that happens. There we go. Indexing, summary, discussion about it. Yeah, so great.
But
And
why
then
does it do the indexing twice?
Well, we'll figure that out. So, do you remember what my name is?
Now let's check what it used in the lookup.
It's this one, right? If their name is remembered. And then lookup result response. Yeah. Okay, got those 3 things. And the completion after the lookup. Payload.
Now this
is this one? System, there's summarizer bot. Yeah.
you want to have the completion directly after lookup.
It's this one, right?
Yeah. So do you remember what my name is? There is
It's content.
That content.
And that was the payload. This is the response. Is it?
No, the response is as an AI. I don't have the ability to recall.
Yeah.
No, that one is what is for the topic.
I see. We can't see the screen.
Yeah, that is a bit annoying.
Mm. Yes, that is very annoying.
But yeah, what we have here is that it, unless you tell it something additional, like go back to your IDE, and where we just dump a JSON stringify thing. Also add something like this is information that's relevant to the current discussion.
Excuse me.
Yeah, and put a second L and recall. Okay.
Clear everything. Refresh. God damn it. It's too fine-tuned, you know?
I think.
Hold on. 52. Zephyr's going to be. If I do this. Oh, damn it.
Does it pick up?
Might not.
Check what the lookup results are by now, because it's also kind of re-indexing things.
Yeah, that's a problem. Then we have the conversation. Yeah, this is part of the problem. Why? Maybe it needs to be a bit more. I don't know, like. It probably has to be a little bit more smart about what it remembers and how it remembers. So it's like what we need is something more like the tool thing, I think, but forced, you know, like if there's anything to remember, yes, no.
Yeah, I guess it is kind of, it needs to be a whole process.
Yeah.
Is there anything to remember? Yes, no. What is there to remember? Save this thing. What are you trying to remember?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
I think we might be fighting against the fine tuning here by quite a bit. It knows what it wants to say. It could be a problem, but it can be fixed with a little bit of fine tuning, like unfine tuning. Let's do this with Zephyr real quick. Introductions. And then, yeah, fuck yeah, Zephyr.
Hey!
Show them what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool. I think we'll have to leave it on that cliffhanger because it is 1 a.m. But something like this is possible. But you know, there's problems. Like
yeah.
I really don't get why this fails so bad. Something about it is weird. Gotta check that. I might be doing something wrong with the system prompt versus the user prompt. But anyway, kind of shows the point is that we can possibly do something like that, and ideally make it so that when you start a new conversation, maybe you can pick the vector space that you want this conversation to be in. And then as you talk to your chatbot, it interacts with you and it remembers you. And when, you have long conversations about things that you did last week, right? You don't have to explain everything over and over again. And this can be a part of a much bigger system when it comes to that, especially when fine tuning is involved, I think. So, I think we'll just leave it here for today.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Okay. So we'll be back next week with more shenanigans. And we'll see you then. Okay. Talk later, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.